Oh shit, am I live now? Okay, there we go. Germany sold another 8,000 Bitcoin today. What is going to happen to the price of Bitcoin when they run out of Bitcoin tomorrow? I'll discuss all this and more with my buddy Luke, but let's check out some of these stats of what Germany's been selling off here so far. The German government has sold nearly 9,000 Bitcoin today, leaving them with only 750 million of Bitcoin after dumping all of this. That's 3.6 billion worth of Bitcoin in the last week. They sold 80% of their Bitcoin. So, Luke, what is the German government thinking here, man? They're selling it all off.
Well, they've lost their mind, and things are happening so quickly that the German government even has less than that $758 million figure on screen right now. They are selling Bitcoin so rapidly, they've just market dumped 50,000 Bitcoin over the past week, and the price of Bitcoin really hasn't budged. We're at $58,000 per coin, and I think what's going to be most interesting, Brandon, is what's going to happen to the price of Bitcoin when Germany stops selling.
Well, we'll get all into this and more, but I want to know, dude, what's your prediction? Do you have a little bit of a price prediction here? Because I mean, I think the demand's here. We're going to get into the demand and much more here in a second, but it seems like it's got to pop, right?
Yeah, so again, I never make short-term price predictions ever, but I think if we reclaim $60,000, that's when a lot of your degens are going to jump back in the space. And if we do jump back above 60K, that'll look really interesting and really bullish for Bitcoin. I'm honestly surprised that Bitcoin has held up so well right now. So like I say, 50,000 Bitcoin is a lot of Bitcoin. That's 25% of the Bitcoin that Michael Saylor has. He has a little bit over 200,000 coins. Okay, so again, Michael Saylor has 1% of the supply, a little bit over 200,000 coins. Germany just market dumped 0.25% of the entire Bitcoin supply in a week. And price has really hardly budged. Even as Germany was selling, we were kind of flirting with $58,000, $59,000. And right now we're at $57,000, $58,000. So again, this is really interesting. And it looks like the ETFs are just literally buying up all of the German government's Bitcoin.
You took the words right out of my mouth here, Luke. I mean, here's a great tweet from Carl B. Munger on just how much the ETFs are scooping up Bitcoin right now. They're scooping up almost exactly the same amount, which is absolutely insane that you're seeing the German government scoop it up. The traditional financial system is seeing the value in Bitcoin. So what are they doing? They're scooping it all up. They're saying, hey, come to Papa here. Let me buy up all these Bitcoin, and we're going to continue to scoop it up. So I think it's only a matter of time. We talked about how much the German government has been selling off, and that's only leaving them with about 20% of their total supply that they had originally. So I think this is just a recipe for, a big run up here soon, because I think, the ETFs are buying out. Not all of these wallets and exchanges are doing the same period. We're seeing a bunch of inflows into the ETFs. So although the German government is looking at this as, we have to sell it sort of situation, ETFs are trying to take advantage here, man. So I think, it's just a matter of time. All of these, all the traditional financial people, the people who are, in this, just looking at Bitcoin as a, the best performing asset since its existence, they're seeing it, man. They're seeing it. But the government, unfortunately, is being sold or forced into selling this just a little bit here. So, we're seeing all exchanges and GBTC demand and the addresses continue to rise up. I mean, look at this big spike here, man. I think it's coming, and it's just a matter of a time. And the Bitcoin dip buyers, look at all this. I mean, they're seeing this as an opportunity. And I think that's what happens the longer you get into Bitcoin, right? Is you believe in the asset, you believe in everything that Bitcoin is doing. So when you see these price dips, when you see it dump from 68 to 70K to 58 to 56K, that's your buying opportunity if you believe in something with this. And so I think the initial ETF launch here in January has given some of these investors some time in the past 6-7 months to learn a little bit more about Bitcoin. Now they're seeing this as an opportunity to buy the dip, and they're going to come in and scoop up some of that extra corn now. So, I mean, I think this was a time that all these Bitcoin hodlers have been waiting for, and it's here. It's here for them, Luke. So they're jumping at the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, you showed the receipts right there. Dip buyers bought $400 million worth of Bitcoin in 2 days. It's massive. That's a lot of demand coming into those Bitcoin spot ETFs. Really, really big, okay? Now, again, it looks like we got a lively chat on YouTube as well. We got Austin, my man, in the chat. We also have producer Pam in the chat. So again, if you guys are on Twitter, definitely jump on over to YouTube. I always have trouble seeing the comments on Twitter, but on YouTube, you can always see the comments a lot easier, and you don't have any issues with the stream. I like to listen to everything on 2x speed, and I still haven't figured out how to do that on Twitter on those live streams. But I mean, this is the opportunity, dude. You said it. Like, if you're watching this stream today, this is a great opportunity to buy the dip, to buy a little bit of Bitcoin. As you can show by this chart here, I mean, these are the flows into the ETFs yesterday. 2,200 Bitcoin flowed into the ETFs yesterday. That is more than 4 times the amount of Bitcoin that was mined yesterday. Massive. You're muted, Brandon. But something else that I saw today as well was actually Mr. 100 buy 700 Bitcoin today. So he's 7x'd himself. He's also bought the dip. And regular viewers from my channel will know that we follow Mr. 100 a lot. And he has nailed the bottoms pretty regularly over the past few months. So that's also interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, we've kind of alluded to it throughout this entire time about how the German government has been selling, right? But it seems like that they don't necessarily have a choice. It's just kind of par for the course. So it is interesting that we saw them almost buy some of this back, or that was the theory being tossed around because of, what was going on. But it turns out that just not all the exchanges could accept all of their sell orders here. So the German government is just massively selling it off. People are buying the dip. Mr. 100's even getting in on it, as you're pointing out there, Luke. So I think, this dip has been a massive opportunity, and I think people are coming in and taking full-fledged advantage of that. And, it's interesting kind of some of the minute details that this article states that, it's not necessarily the German government, but it's more of one of their states. And when you seize some assets, they essentially have to sell it. So, I'd be curious to see if the German government ends up trying to buy some Bitcoin following this, because, like we said, it's another touch point. They're getting in on Bitcoin. They're going to have to start discussing it in some way, shape, or form. Like, all right, we're seeing this uproar here on Twitter. We're seeing this uproar on YouTube. We're seeing it everywhere. And because of all that, why the uproar? What is going on here? We're seeing even German politicians. We discussed this, on a previous live stream as well. Why that necessarily can sway the German government to really give this a little bit more. So I think, there's so much evidence that we're seeing everybody try to scoop up the German Bitcoin sell-off. And I think it's just a matter of time here until all that corn gets readily scooped up. So, Luke, what you got on that, man? I see you shoving your face over there with some grapes or something, dude.
Yeah, I was hoping no one would notice that, but producer Pam just cooked me up a couple mean eggs and 3 or 4 pieces of steak, and I've been munging that down. That's breakfast for me today, so I'm a little bit hungry. I'm embarrassed she caught me there with the big screen as I was feeding my big fat face. But I think I love this chart here. So this chart is one that I found an hour ago, so just before we went live today. And again, everybody's making all of these brand new charts about the German government. And we can see this one. This is showing you how much or how well the Bitcoin price has absorbed all of the selling of the 50,000 Bitcoin that they've nearly emptied. And if you let me share my screen, Brandon, I've even got another chart up for you guys that is like live updating. So you guys can see right now, the German government only has $285 million worth of Bitcoin left. This shows how quickly this story is evolving. This morning, they had like $700 or $800 million of Bitcoin. They've sold another $500 million clip worth of Bitcoin today. So this is massive. They're essentially out of Bitcoin because let's do some quick maths on the live stream, Brand. I'm interested to know how many Bitcoin, $285 million worth of Bitcoin is. So I'm actually going to do it live on air. 280. Well, yeah, look out. 285 million divided by, let's say, $58,000 per coin. That's about 4,900 coins left. Okay. So we know that the ETFs yesterday bought over 2,000 coins. So the ETFs are just going to chew through this in 2 days worth of buying pressure. So again, very interesting how quickly this story is evolving.
100%. And yeah, it's just a matter of time, as we're saying. Like, the dips are coming. The Bitcoin hodlers are going to be scooping this up. But I mean, we also have sustainable Satoshis over here wanting the 2040 prices. I don't think you can want all that just yet. You got to scoop up the dip. You got to scoop up the cheap sats today while you can, because BlackRock and all them, they're coming for it, right? I mean, the ETFs are coming and scooping up Bitcoin at a rapid pace, which is good for us in the long term. But hey, we got to try to scoop up as many Satoshis as we can in the short term, right, Luke?
100%. Sustainable Satoshi's also said in the chat, I ran out of money, too many dips. That is true. That's the meme. We've just been dipping for the past, 6 months now? But I do think this is healthy. Bitcoin does this every year between the American summer. So this is like, March to kind of August. They're seasonally the slowest months for Bitcoin. These are the months where Bitcoin does nothing. It doesn't do a lot. And we had such a parabolic run that Bitcoin did in late 2023 into early 2024 that I think this 6-month correction or sideways movement is the opportunity that was due to come. Okay. You can't rally from $25,000 to $73,000 in 8 straight green monthly candles without going sideways for 4 to 5 months. Okay. So I think we always deserve this correction. I think this is healthy. This is bullish. This is pit stop number 1 in this bull market. I still think we're very early. The halving was literally 2 months ago. We haven't had any retail enter the space. If you look at Google Trends, retail is gone. Okay, I saw something earlier that said the fear and greed index today for Bitcoin is at the same level it was at when Bitcoin was at $16,000. So people are just as fearful today, which is absolutely crazy. Okay, what do you think about all of that, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you here, and and you tweeted out something here earlier where I had to show it. Is you were talking about it as well a little earlier about, like, how the parabolic nature of how this can go, right? So in my eyes, I think we're still very early, right? But you never know how quickly something like this can take a turn. And I think an event like this, where we're seeing the dip coming in, we're seeing the German government selling off Bitcoin, and we're seeing the response. We're seeing everybody come in and being like, okay, you know what? Now's the time to kind of come in and buy the dip. And, it's just a matter of time before, the fear and greed and everybody in Bitcoin is scooping up all the leftover corn. I mean, Bitcoin on an exchange is getting scarcer and scarcer and scarcer. Soon, it's just going to be the Bitcoin that's left mined from the miners that is going to be selling off. And then it's off to the races, right? But I think, outside of all this, I think the most important message that you and I stress here, Luke, is, holding Bitcoin yourself. The true power and the true nature of Bitcoin is self-custody. And that's why, I'm really glad here at Green Candle, we're able to partner with Foundation Wallet, where I think it's the easiest one to buy and hold your Bitcoin in cold storage. Utilize that. You can buy yourself a passport. They've even got a great link here where you can go through a concierge service if you're a little intimidated about it. But you can do that. Use promo code Green Candle and you'll get 10% off this sleek looking passport here. And then, as you're storing your seed phrase, you can store it in paper. You could do all these kind of things, but can it survive all of the tests, right? It is your bank, right? So at this point, you got to take personal responsibility. So I think the best way to do that is to hammer in a stamp seed and a titanium punch plate. And you can purchase one of those as well at stampseed.com and utilize promo code Green Candle and get 15% off. So I'm helping you store your Bitcoin in a safe manner, as well as saving you some sats along the way. And lastly, you can orange pill some of your friends and family by utilizing Bitcoin trading cards. They've got some great series going on. They've got the orange pill in a pack. They've got some whales if you want to get some of the cool people who have helped along in the Bitcoin journey. Or you could get the Genesis pack, which has a lot of great stuff going on in there, all about tough financial topics, but it's in a nice and concise manner to help you orange pill your friends and family. So Luke, what do you got for us, man?
Yeah, funny story. So everybody should be self-custodying their Bitcoin. That's something we always do hit on, and it is something that people do need to be reminded of. If you got Bitcoin on exchange, it's not your Bitcoin; it's an IOU. But just a funny anecdotal story. I actually met Brandon, one of the co-founders of BTC Trading Cards. That is Brandon Gentile, not Brandon Keys, who's your man on the stream today with me. But he is a lad. He is a legend, and I love everything he's doing. I actually don't think I've met another Bitcoiner who sees the world in such a similar way that I do. Most people think I'm crazy, I'm a nutcase, but I'm a big fan of everything that Brandon Gentile is doing, and I'm a big fan of physical Bitcoin educational things. Bitcoin's this digital thing. There's a lot of YouTube channels, there's a lot of podcasts, there's a lot of writing about Bitcoin online, but I really like the idea of books and physical trading cards. I think I don't know why, but I feel like they hit differently. Maybe it's because Bitcoin's this digital, magic made up internet money. I'm not sure, but I really like the idea of the trading cards.
100%. And I think they're all great, all encompassing, all to help you along your Bitcoin journey. And that's what we're trying to do here at the Green Candle channel and everything else. So yeah, thank you all for joining us on these streams. And we'll be tracking this Germany story very close. So be sure to tune in for more content coming soon. And thanks everybody for joining the chat.
Adios, guys.